The Johnsky is a YouTube channel run by and run for people over the age of 13. People under the age of 13 should click off of this video right now, or watch with a parent or guardian. Viewer discretion is advised.
You don't scare me!
Milt is freaking today, militiamen. My name is King Prime, and welcome back to another video here on the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of the newer Transformers Studio Series 86 figures. Not exactly the newest wave, but one of the more recent waves. That being the Transformers Studio Series 86 Perceptor. Of course, let's just take a quick look at the packaging like we always do. But getting close in here, we do have a nice render of Perceptor there. Unlike the Jazz figure, I've not recognized this art before, so this must be new for the packaging. Studio Series 86, 11th figure in the line. His name, of course, down there. On the side, we have the Transformers logo, as well as Transformers Generations and the Takara Tomy trades. Transformers the movie. On the side, we have more 86. Perceptor's face looking nice and cheerful there. Deluxe class. On the other side, we have the 86 behind the plastic so that we can use the slip cover that is inside for the display base. Another picture of Perceptor in his robot mode. The authentic Transformers trades to make sure that this is not a third-party figure. On the back, though, we have the product shot in both robot vehicle and then secondary vehicle mode, which we will surely talk about, as well as, you know, big screen inspired, Battle of Autobot City, and then that one sentence bio. Oh, I guess it's two sentences now. Nope, it's just one. I lied. Down at the bottom, we have a Amazon sticker, because that's where I got it from. Under that, though, there's some more legal jargon on the bottom. And that's about that for the box. On the inside, however, we of course do have the display base, which is of Autobot City getting absolutely murked in the movie. It's a very nice display base, but like I say with a lot of these figures, it's not for me, you know. I don't really use this. I don't really care about this. I've said it once, I'll say it again. These Studio Series 86 boxes, or any of these boxes, you really only care about if you are a mint and box collector, of which I am not. I'm here to open and review the toys, and that's what I'm going to do. Freeze frame.
That honeycomb looks succulent, amazing, immaculate. Oh, why did he eat the meat?
Freeze frame on freeze, and here is Perceptor out of the packaging. But before we take a look at him, we will take a look at his blaster, which is just a simple representation of his G1 blaster made of some pretty see-through red plastic, although that is just attributed to the very strong light that I have. And of course, Perceptor can hold it, so he can shoot things. But that's that for his accessory. As for Perceptor himself, he's pretty good. He looks very cartoon accurate, I will say. Of all of the figures released so far for Studio Series that I've reviewed, this one is the most cartoon model accurate. And I will tell you exactly why. It's because he looks really freaking good. So, getting close up here, we will take a look at his head sculpt. And I will remove, or at least just banish his microscope head to the back of his back so that I can actually see his head. And of course, he does have that nice silver paint done up on his faceplate, as well as some nice deep metallic blue eyes, which are just kind of subdued, because everything else on this guy is done up in baby blue, as well as a golden piece of detail on the ridge of his head. And the rest of his face, or the rest of his helmet's done up in like a charcoal gray kind of. It's pretty nice. Like I said, though, the rest of him is mainly baby blue, but also does have some pretty nice red, same shade as his pistol, which I've banished to the Netherrealm for now. And he also has the spray of the microscope in his alt mode in clear plastic, which has been painted with this nice metallic paint, which has flaked in a few pieces, like right here and on the corner, which sucks, but it's fine. And then, of course, he has a Autobot symbol on his chest, and then a gray bit on these knobs and stuff that are on his arms right here. And that's pretty much it for detail. Also, with Perceptor, you have this attached, unremovable scope, which you can use as a shoulder cannon. You can actually see through it, but you can't really see anything in it. It's just too foggy to see anything but you can see through there through the review station. You can see it coming through the other side. It's just too foggy to actually look through like the original toy, but you do have a nice dial up here, which doesn't move, but it's in the same color as the one on his arm, as well as the head of it, which is done in black. And of course, there's that smoky gray piece on the front and the back to signify the viewing glass. So that's basically it for Perceptor's detailing. However, for his articulation, I did previously show he has some articulation here at the cannon on his shoulder, which can, go all the way sideways, so you can get a gangster lean on it, or you can have it straight up and down like the G1 toy. It also has some movement points. It's mainly for the alt mode, and as well, if you untab it, you can completely put the thing away, so you can have it just slung over his back, make this a nice IDW Perceptor reference, and just have a sniper rifle. But moving on to the head, you do have a ball joint. No matter how limited it may be, it is a ball joint. So he can look left and right and all that stuff, and you can kind of get him to look up and down, but not really. At the shoulder, you do have a ball joint, so you can get a very wide range of motion at his shoulder, as well as bicep swivel and a hinge at the elbow. Nothing at the wrist, unfortunately, but you do have an in and out joint here because of the transformation. You do have a waist swivel, which is nice and appreciated, as well as a swivel at the hip, so you can get a kick about that far forward and about that far back. Very nice. A hinge as well, so you can go out that far, but all these joints are essentially just for transformation. You have an interesting point of articulation here, so you can break Perceptor's leg. This is, of course, just for the transformation, but it is there nonetheless. I wish it would tab in. In fact, that's kind of my biggest gripe with this figure, is that this frickin' joint doesn't tab in. So anytime you pose this figure, you just break his legs at some point, which sucks. However, you do also have a bend at the knee with a nice little piece of mechanical detail here that comes out to be like sort of a tendon. You have a very good ankle pivot, a bend at the toe, and that's about it for the articulation of Perceptor. Now that we've gone over the articulation, now let's do a quick freeze frame and we'll do a size comparison. So freeze frame. Freeze frame on freeze. Here we have Perceptor next to our previous Transformers review, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Core Class Wheelie. Here we have Perceptor next to a little Lego minifigure, such as Luke Skywalker, who can barely fit in the frame. And here we have him next to an old friend, such as the Transformers Classics 06 Optimus Prime, who is actually not that much taller than him, which is a first for the figures I've reviewed thus far. Usually the figures I review get dwarfed by Optimus, but this time Perceptor comes up just about to his shoulder. So, pretty nice. That's a W for Perceptor, at least. But now that we have that out of the way, let's get on to the transformation, and I can show you exactly what this guy turns into. So, freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze. So, to transform Perceptor, first thing you want to do is rotate his head 180 degrees, and then fold it away so this little plug piece replaces Perceptor's head hole. Next, you're going to want to plop down his chest piece, which will become the tray of the alternate mode. Then you can fold in his wrists on both arm. Boom and boom. Then you're going to want to fold down these parts at the shoulder, and as you can see right here, there is a little tab that sticks out of the shoulder and a little hole which will tab into that for the robot mode. But for the alt mode, you just want to have it untabbed like so, on both sides, of course. Then you're going to want to do a really cool piece of transformation where, well, if this isn't all up already, you're going to want to pull this up. But next you do a cool piece of transformation where you turn the cannon completely sideways and then fold it up on this little piece right here where I just said there's that tab. It is on a separate hinge joint so that it'll come up and be on top of where Perceptor's head was. Then on the other side, there is an additional hinge piece where this arm tabs into that has a tab of its own sticking out, which will slot into that little hole right there, holding the magnifying piece in place, which is an awesome piece of transformation. Next, you're just going to want to rotate his shoulders out like this so that they sit completely flush against the bottom of his waist. And then fold them up at the shoulder, or what was once the shoulder, so that this little hole right here on his arm tabs into that little tab that is sticking out inside of this little cavity. Once you do that, it won't really, make a pop or anything when it tabs in, but you'll feel it when it goes, and that is how you know that it is complete. Next, you're going to want to come down to his legs. You can fold out his toes, and then make him do the full splits. Then you're going to want to rotate the hips outwards like this. And then at the joint where I keep saying that it will break Perceptor's legs, just fold that out like so on both sides. And there you have Perceptor in his microscope mode. And that looks pretty good, to be honest. It's very accurate to what he looked like in the 86 movie, where he says,
"I fear the wounds are fatal."
Which is, of course, ingrained into the memories of so many of us, including the childhood trauma of this certain reviewer. This is completely, just for show. There's no wheels or anything on the bottom except for the faux tracks, which I'll show off in a second. It just sits there, and it is a microscope, and that's it. Fortunately, though, for this microscope, you do have a little bit of weapon storage. If you come around to this side of his former arm, there's a little piece right here, and a hole on the inside of his weapon right there, and it's on the other side right there. You just tab in that hole, and you have some weapon storage. And this, of course, works on both sides because there is a tab over here too. For comparison, though, we do have our old friends, our previous review, Wheelie, who is pretty small compared to Perceptor, all things considered. Here's Luke, next to Perceptor. And here is Prime all transformed up. And you know what? Perceptor kind of looks bigger than Prime, even though Prime is longer. He's quite a bit taller than him, which is funny to see, at least. But that's how they scale next to each other. However, this isn't Perceptor's only mode, and that's the most interesting thing to me. So to continue with the transformation, this is just something that I do personally. I like to fold up this tray here for whatever he was just, examining. And then rotate his legs completely the opposite way around. You can remove the weapon at this point as well, because in this mode, the weapon storage is completely used up. However, you just rotate at the upper thigh cut, which is right here, and plug the tab in for the weapon storage into his lower calf, and that will, at least in theory, tab in on both sides. And then you can rotate Perceptor's scope up, and then you have a tank mode, which is wild to me because I don't remember this at all. I can't remember if this is a reference to the G1 toy or if this was in the movie at some point. But you do have, Perceptor's treads there, and a giant tank barrel, which okay, crazy. Just for a mini size comparison, here's Luke next to that. Not much has changed. But I'm not sure. I really can't speak as to what that is. But I can speak to what I feel like about this figure, and I will do that in the final words, so freeze frame.
Baby, listen, can we just not do this today?
Okay.
Cool.
Freeze frame, unfreeze. So, overall, Perceptor really isn't a bad figure whatsoever. I really like the way he looks. I just don't like the way he feels. I think Hasbro has absolutely nailed the look of this figure. This is so accurate to the G1 cartoon model. I just really wish that it felt much better. These legs joints are awful. I hate these. They don't tab in, and I hate them. I hate them. It ruins the entire feel of the figure. It kind of feels like he's doing that the entire time, which is strange. It's not natural, and I do not like it. But other than that, he's not bad whatsoever, and I wouldn't not recommend him just because of the legs. If you're a Perceptor fan, you're obviously going to get this. It's just that, you really need to figure out how much you like Perceptor in order to get this figure. And I really like him, so I got him. But if I knew how this figure felt beforehand, I might not have. This is sort of not... I don't regret my purchase. I just wish that it was a little bit better, especially for how much Transformers cost these days. This was $24, so not exactly a light purchase whatsoever, but it's not, objectively the worst. However, if you also like Perceptor like I do, or you like the Autobots, or the 86 movie, or Transformers toys in general, make sure you share this video with all your friends, share it with your Facebook groups, all that good stuff. If you liked the videos, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. It helps me keep pushing them out at a somewhat frequent basis. Right now, we're on a weekly schedule, so that's going to be pretty much it for this review, guys. Thank you so very much for watching, and as always, peace.